Good morning, everyone. My name is Colin Kulmoski from St. John Newman Parish in Franklin Park, and I just began my first year of pre-theology at St. Paul's Seminary. And it's an absolute honor to be here today at the cathedral in order to just share a little bit about my vocation story and what led me to enter the seminary. So I was raised in a wonderful Catholic family as the youngest of 3 children. We would regularly attend Mass and pray together, and I was sent to Catholic education as I grew up. Went to St. Teresa of Avila School for grade school, and then Central Catholic for high school. And really, a life in the Catholic faith was really all I never knew. But I never really took the moment to make it personal or to embrace it. And once I got to high school, especially as part of my rebellious teenage years, I didn't really have any desire to dive into my faith or to embrace it any more than I had. And I thought this plan was going to work out just fine. But it turns out that I really enjoyed hanging out in the campus ministry office almost every day. So that didn't go very well for long. Of course, it was for strictly social reasons I liked hanging out there, and any mention of prayer or service would cause me to flee out the door. But for one reason or another, my campus minister, Mr. Kyle Goldcamp, some of you may know him, he saw something in me and saw that I needed something. And I also knew I needed something, because I was kind of going through a period where, quite frankly, I felt unfulfilled and often miserable throughout my days, and I knew I needed something to change. I didn't know what that was, but Mr. Goldcamp did. And after about 3 years of resisting these opportunities that Mr. Goldcamp gave to me and these urges within my heart, I finally said yes to going on a mission trip to Webster Springs, West Virginia. It was a week away to serve the poor and to be removed from everything, all the technology and everything that we deal with every day. And it was a fantastic experience for me, and one thing that stands out the most to me was we had the opportunity to have Mass celebrated on our work site. It was an altar made of Turner's milk crates and 2x4s out in the open, and it was such a beautiful moment where I felt overcome with such peace and joy. And now I know that that was the power of the Eucharist, but in that moment I didn't quite understand that yet. And when I came back home, I had a sense of peace for a little while, but after some time, kind of went back to the way things were, because I just wasn't quite ready to give myself over. But the Lord, working through Mr. Goldcamp, had another trick up his sleeve. When the winter of my senior year of high school rolled around, he was advertising for a retreat called a Kairos retreat. It's this mysterious retreat, which all they tell you about is that it's promised to be life-changing. And I needed my life to change. So surprisingly, I was the first to sign up, ready to give it a try, and to see if this was the moment when this misery that I felt was going to come to an end. And I was certainly right about that. People throw around the phrase life-changing a lot when they encounter something in their life. But I can tell you, I cannot describe this weekend more clearly than life-changing. That's because I was bombarded by the love of our Lord Jesus Christ. I didn't just have a fun time and make good friends, but I discovered a God that loved me infinitely, unconditionally, and completely. I cried like a baby for most of the entire weekend because I was just so overcome with what, or rather who, I had encountered and been searching for. This didn't just lead to some retreat high that many people experience after they go on a great weekend, but rather changed the outlook of my entire life. And I was ready to get to know the Lord who loved me so deeply. And after high school, I moved on to college at Hofstra University on Long Island, New York. And I was ready and excited to get involved in the Catholic life there, especially in the Newman Club. And I was quite ambitious. I even remember going up to one of the members before classes had even started my freshman year of college saying, "I'm going to one day be president of this club." And he still holds that against me to this day. But I was president of the club for 2.5 years of my college experience, and it was such an integral part of it in order to serve the people of Hofstra and lead them closer to the Lord. But even more so than leading the club, what helped me dive into the faith and eventually lead me to entering the seminary was a priest, the college chaplain. His name was Father Joseph Scalero, who I reached out to meet with upon beginning college, just to kind of get to know him. And after exchanging some general niceties, he asked me if I'd ever considered the priesthood. And I had told him it had come into my mind a couple times throughout the past year or so since that retreat. But it always caused me a certain fear to think about, a fear of wondering what the Lord would ask of me, and a fear of the discernment process. But Father Scalero, in his charity, he met me where I was, and he took myself and 3 other young men at Hofstra under his wing to help us discern the priesthood, teaching us how to pray, teaching us about the Lord, the Church, and her teachings. But most importantly of all that, he showed us what it meant to be a priest. The radical witness of his life was so important to me, and over time, the idea of priesthood through time and prayer, especially with the Eucharist, the idea of priesthood would not leave my mind. And I never had this lightning bolt experience where the heavens opened up and an angel told me I was called to be a priest. But over the course of about 4 years, that urge in my heart would not go away, and I knew I needed to at least enter seminary. And so I joined the end of this past summer, and I couldn't be happier to pursuing my vocation and seeing what the Lord is calling me to. And as we end today the National Vocation Awareness Week, I just want to leave you with 2 thoughts. I owe so much of my journey to 2 things. The first is the witness of a priest radically living out his call, and the second is time spent in the silence of Eucharistic adoration. Without these 2 things, I would be nowhere near the cathedral today. And so I urge you, if you're a young man, to just ask the Lord what he wants of you. It's as simple as that. He's not asking you to change everything right now. He's not asking you to leave behind everything you know and love. But maybe if you just ask him, he might let you know where he wants to lead you. And even if you get the slightest inkling that he may be calling you to be a priest, reach out to a priest that you know that can show you what it means to live out that call and spend time with the Eucharist. If nothing else, I guarantee it'll change your life. You'll fall more deeply with the God that created you in love, and maybe he'll lead you along the path of your life. And I think I can speak for all of us seminarians saying that these 2 things were integral to all of our stories. And so thank you so much for listening. Please continue to pray for all of us. We certainly need it. And please be assured of our prayers for you. God bless you. Thank you.